the Brigadier Nyuso?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
Perhaps maybe we must ask to verify. I think I see and I understand.
Please.
On the date, did you speak to Brigadier Nyuso
Sorry,
about this operation?
ngalolu suku wathintana waxhumana nayo uNyusa mayelana nale operation?
Angikhumbuli.
I do not recall. But I was we able to file to page 589. Besakubuza lo mbuzo.
Yes, paragraph 3, the highlighted portion.
Paragraph 3 lapho uyayibona kukhona ukudwetshiwe ukuthi ibonakale ngokugama.
Yebo ngiyabona.
Do you see, Warrant Officer, this is Colonel Jacobs's statement. He says, I told him I would get back to him, that is Duma, and called Warrant Officer Mpangase to find out his availability. He indicated that he was aware of the situation by Captain Duma and he was sensitized about Captain Duma's reservations about utilizing other members of the unit. I told him, I assume this means you, that I was on leave, but I was willing to book on duty if the provincial commander gave permission to do so. He said he would brief Brigadier Nyusa of the situation and get back to me. A short while later, he called me and indicated that he had spoken to the Brigadier and that all was in order with regards to me booking on duty to follow up on this information.
Mina wethu ke ufunde ngesilungu la mawufuna ngikuchazele ngifunde ngifunde konke kodwa makuba ukulandele ungazi
Ngiyakubona.
kuzwe kahle.
Yebo.
Yes, I do follow.
Perhaps the question is, did you have that discussion with Colonel Jacobs, and did you, following the discussion with him, then have a discussion with Brigadier Nyusa about Colonel Jacobs booking himself in on the day?
Angikhumbuli.
I do not remember.
Does I do not remember mean it may have happened, you just don't have a memory of it, or no, nothing like that happened?
Mawuthi angikukhumbuli uchaza ukuthini? Ukuthi akuzange kwenzeke lokho noma hayi ungenzeka ukuthi kwenzeke kodwa akukhumbuli nje.
Ukuba wakhuluma kanje ngabe ngiyakukhumbula.
If he had uttered those words or said that, I would be in a position to remember.
Ngoba inkinga yokuthi ngingakukhumbuli kungani yena njengomuntu omphathi angakhulumi nomunye umphathi athumele mina.
Yeah, somehow complex here because really there's one question which arises. Him being a commander, or why does he not communicate directly with somebody who is in par with him, same position? Why then he communicate with me? That is my main problem.
So should we accept your answer to be nothing of sorts happened? You did not speak to Nyusa about Colonel Jacob booking onto duty?
Now, that does not come into my mind that I did speak to Jacob.
Thank you.
Brigadier.
Unyuswa, not to Jacob.
Unyuswa, no wait. I'm Jacob. I'm Jacob.
Unyuswa.
Yes, we're talking Unyuswa.
I will just make an indulgence to refer to Nyusa's statement. I know that file is not there, but I seem to recall that he confirms that he received a call from Warrant Officer Mpangase. But I'll just get that specific reference.
Uyakhumbula ndaweni thizeni ngathi uthi uyasho ukuthi uyavuma ukuthi wayithola ucingo liqhamuka kulento uMpangase from Mpangase.
Yes.
Yeah, from Mpangase uthi uyakhumbula ukuthi wayithola.
Okay. Then there's the three of you, and I won't go further into it. You then go and fetch Jacob
ultimately. Wagcina ke sohambile uyomlanda uJacob.
Yebo.
And Jacob himself testified, and I'll just get that specific reference, that this also was a big operation. He had not been involved in such a big operation. I suppose you can't refute that at this point. You wouldn't know.
Yes, it is correct.
Then you went and met, so it's the three of you. You then go meet Captain Duma.
Nina ke nobathathu nase nihamba neyodibana noDuma. Yes.
Now, you know that there's this, how to handle the crime scene and all of this. What measures did you, or what, you said there was no plan when you were initially talking to Jacob and Spear, but now you've got a briefing session at the garage. Was there no discussion about getting exhibit bags, how the scene is going to be managed, who was going to be in charge? Can you just elaborate on that?
Uyakhumbula ukuthi uthe wena kwakungana plan ekhona la. Kodwa nasenehlangana lapha egarage la nathintana ngamakhanda nibonisana. Usho ukuthi lapha kuko kwasho ukuthi ubani ozokwenza ukuthize lo yenze kanjani. Azange kube khona ukucaciselana lapha.
Akuzange kube khona.
No, there was none.
Okay. So none of you thought perhaps you should call the LCRC?
Akekho phakathi kwenu wacabanga ukuthi mhlambe kuyofuneka ukuthinta uLCRC.
Akekho.
No one.
Okay. And then you proceeded to the warehouse, and I don't think there's much to deal with there other than to perhaps ask this. You say that Jacob, Lieutenant Colonel Jacob, assigned you to take notes of the search.
Lapho ke sesiqhubekile lapha akukho kunesingakhuluma kodwa ke kuyezwakele ukuthi ke uJacob wasethi wena ufuna ukuthatha ama notes message. Yes.
And when was this now? Because obviously there was no planning prior, but now when does Jacob then assign these roles? And we know that he assigned other roles to SBA.
Imbuzo ukuthi ke njengoba uchairman bekungana plan yayikhona manje kwenzeka nini la bese akwazi ukuthi akutshele ukuthi ufuna ukwenza njani.
Sesise depot.
When we were at the depot.
And then he took charge. Naturally, he said he took charge, or everyone just followed him as a senior person.
Kusho ukuthi lapho kwase kuba uyungqoshishilisi osephethe konke ashoyo ukuthi kwenziwa njani. Yes.
And now obviously he was off duty. Now he booked himself on duty. What was your understanding? Was your understanding that he was then going to continue with the operation, being in charge?
Lo muntu off. Duku sebuyile uyasifaka emsebenzi. Kuwe kwathini? Kusho ukuthi usazoqhubeka lokho ephethe a controller lo mphe.
Yebo kunjani.
Yes, it is like that.
Perhaps before I forget, in relation to the statement, just for your notes about Nyusa, it's in his statement at page 8, paragraph 26, where he references the discussion with Warrant Officer Mpangase.
Utshela ke umphathi ukuthi abheke ku page 8 lapho kwakhulunywa nawo uMpangase.
Mrs. Skakane, because it's not in one of the files that we have, is it not better to flight it? At least we can look at it on the screen.
I'll request that it be done, yes.
Reading it. That's not the issue, whether it's written or not. The issue is whether they were there to be part of the operation or to transport, just to provide transport, because they were busy with their own operation. That's what they tell us in their statements. They were there for their own operation, not as part of your operation. Then they get called. Once you've taken the bags out, they were asked to come and help transport, because they had the correct transport for it, to go to Isipingo, to carry these bags, not what you're saying.
Sorry,
you can carry on, Mr.
Thank you. Uyakubona ukubhalile impela lokho kushoyo. Kodwa kuzwakele kahle ukuchazwe yibona ukuthi babezisebenzela wabo umsebenzi indawo thizeni, kodwa ngoba bebenendlela noma into yokwazi ukuthi ilayishe lo mthwalo. Into efanelekile ukulayisha lo mthwalo. Yikho babizwa ukuthi bazokwenza lokho. Kwakuyileyo nje kuphela into bezwe ukuncedisa ukuhambisa, hayi ukuthi babe yiphathi kule operation.
Commissioner Baloyi, into engayisho ukuthi ngabhala phansi kwinote phansi ukuthi abantu ababekhona osibanibani nje mase ngiqeda ngiyobhala kwi-diary ngaphinde ngatransfer le information ngayifaka kwi-diary ngase ngibhala i-statement sokuthi abantu ababekhona osibani bani osibani bani.
Commissioner Baloyi, I did indeed put this on my notes. After that, transferred it to diary and later put it into my statement that those people were there, present, observing.
Yes. I don't think it makes it truthful that you wrote it in your diary and in your statement. I now want to read for you what one of them says. And I've told you all three of them have submitted statements, and Colonel Jacob as well. He started out saying they were part of the operation and ended up conceding that they were just there to provide transport.
Uyabona ngempela labantu bazile bakhuluma naye uJacob washo ukuthi ngempela laba bantu kakhulu ingqikithayelo daba labo bakhona lapha ukuthi bancede ngokunto yokuhambisa transport.
Yebo bona babizwa sebehambile after sebebonile.
Imake mina ukuthi babizwa sebehambile ubani ohambile ubani babizwa
Bona umkhize benogovernor.
babizwa
sebehambile ukuthi bazosiza.
bebekhona bahamba babizwa futhi.
Yes.
But what actually happened, they were there, they left, and they were recalled to come back to assist.
Yes, that's another issue I was going to take with you. You are the only one who says that, but let me read what Govender says. Govender says, Sergeant Govender says, on that date, I'm told I should refer you to page 627. We can read it together, file 2.
627,
File 2.
52. Where do you lento ishoyo bona uzofundelwa ukuthi bayibe ngayiphi le ndlela for.
Okay. So you see, I want you to go to paragraph 3 rather, but it starts at paragraph 2 where he explains he was on duty on the 22nd of June 2021. He was posted as a driver of a marked state motor vehicle, conducting container inspections at the CHC and ICS depots. And then he says, whilst busy with container inspection at the CHC depot, which is where we know that this container was found, I was approached by 2 other police officials dressed in civilian attire. They identified themselves as Lieutenant Colonel Jacob from the DPCI and another Captain Duma from Crime Intelligence. They had inspected, so when they approached him, they had already inspected container number and had identified some black canvas bags that allegedly had cocaine in them. Sergeant Mkize and I were requested to assist with loading these bags into our vehicle and in conveying them to Isipingo SAP. And then in paragraph 5, he says this is what they did. They then loaded the bags and then counted them and they proceeded to Isipingo. So the same with Mkize and the other one that were there. They give the same story. Colonel Jacobs, like you, started off by saying they were part of the inspection, like you, and ended up accepting that, in fact, yes, they were approached to come and provide transport. They were not part of the inspection. So if you insist and you want to rely on your pocketbook, your diary and your statement, that's what you recorded, it means you recorded a falsehood. You recorded something that did not happen. It did not happen that way according to these people that transported those drugs, according to Colonel Jacobs. So you being untruthful, if that's what you recorded on that day, because that's not what happened.
Emne wethu ke ufundelwe ngikholwa ukuthi ukuzwile konke kufundiwe lapha angithi kodwa ke kubonakala ngathi ngendlela bengakhona cishe wenza iphutha ngokuhlonipha singathi ubhayizile kodwa ubeke ngendlela okungayona akusiyona akusiyindlela beyenzekele ngakho ngendlela wena usho ngakhona
into eyenzeke kudala kakhulu le but uma kuwukuthi ngabhala ukuthi babe khona angisiboni isidingo sokuthi ngibhale ukuthi bakhona babe khona kwisimo babona bebengekho.
Yeah, I know this took place some time back, but I don't see any purpose or reason for saying that they were there when they were not.
What we suggested or put to Colonel Jacob and why he would say that they were part of the operation is because he wanted to create an impression that other SAPS members other than yourself and Sibia who had absolutely no experience in these kind of operations and him who came back from leave just to do this operation and disappear on the same day. The reason you say there were other people, other police officers, is to create the impression that this was a legitimate SAPS operation that involved other officers of the SAPS. That's the reason you would mention other people as being part of the operation, part of the inspection, when in fact they were not.
Kubonakala ngathi-ke hendoda wena ufaka laba bantu ukuthi kubonakale sengathi lento beyenzeka lapha beyisemthethweni iyenziwa uwe namaphoyisa omthetho kanti eqinisweni ubona ngathi bekunganjalo.
Ngiyakuphika lokho.
I dispute.
Ngisasho namanje ukuthi ngangeke ngibesane ngithi uSayidini Mkhize noSayidini Gavenda babelapha uma babengekho.
I wouldn't have mentioned that they were actually there if it was not the case.
Namanje futhi ngithi ngiyacabanga ukuthi why would I say that?
I'm scratching my head even now. Why would I do that?
Mr. Skakane, it looks like we have a technical problem. I'm looking at our screens. There are vertical black bands that are hiding some of the wording and all over the page. And then surely those cannot be intended reductions. Yeah, look at that.
Bona sibheka lapha phezulu mabona kude lo hey khona imigqa lapha emnyama manje iyaphazamisa ngathi khona into engahambi kahle ngalezinto.
Even dates, no, addresses, where the depot is, surely could not have been intended to redact that. And also the container number, we have seen that container number several times. The people who are assisting technically at the back, do you have I wonder if they have any, please come close to us.
Kuba inenkinga ndoda yazi nemniningwane ebalekile lapha ku container number ama address ngathi cishekile lapha valekile ngalokho kumnyama awuthi babize labo engineer mhlawumbe bayazokwazi ukusinceda lapha.
You do see what's happening there. It cannot be intended reductions. Oh, yeah. Is there an explanation, Mr. Skakane?
Chair, I'm told that it's the file from which they were flighting is corrupted. So I think we'll have to check it.
Okay. Let's go ahead.
Labembuza ngencazelo uthe ngathi cishe kwe wabakhona inkinga nje ngezwe zomshini lo ngakhona. Bona soqhubeka.
Okay, Warrant Officer, just to complete this discussion with you.
But you sorry. You have no difficulty though, Warrant Officer, because you are reading from a hard copy. Is that so?
Awuna inkinga ngoba unikwe iphepha lokuthi ufunde uzibonele.
Yebo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just to complete this part, the other thing that you are the only one who is saying, and the three ORS, I think we told they are ORS members who were the Gavenda Mkhize and the other one that I don't remember. I think it's Kuzwai. And Colonel Jacob do not say, is that the three came to your scene, left, and were called back. You're the only one that's saying that. All four of them say they were brought in to and helped with taking these bags onto their vehicle, drove with you to Isipingo police station. These things were offloaded at Isipingo, and then they left to go and carry on with their functions. You say they were there present, looking. In fact, you say they were part of the inspection. During the search of the container, you say they were present, they left, and then they were called back. You're the only one that's saying that.
Uyabona kufanele sikuzwe kahle la. Laba bantu bane kahle. Gavenda Mkhize noKhuzwayo sifake na uJakobe. Bona bathi bebekhona labantu beyingcenye yokuphenya la kwenziwa lento. Kodwa okumangazayo nguwe wedwa cha othi labantu babakho bafika bahamba base bayabuya. Kuza kanjani?
Iyangimangaza ke leyo ngoba
It is beyond my apprehension. I don't know.
ngoba into engayibhala phansi engibhalela istatement into engangibhale kuma notes ami.
Because what reflects here, it's what I put on my handbook.
Yes. I think the simple point I tried to make earlier was the fact that you are repeating it because you put it in your handbook and you repeat it in your statement today. It doesn't make it truthful. That therefore it is a fact. That's what happened. What I want to put to you is the probability here is that the four are telling the truth of what happened. You are making up a story. And you may be making up that story because that's what you discussed with Colonel Jacobs, that we will say that these three people were there when we did the search. We will say that. And what you didn't realize is he comes and testifies and concedes that that is false to say they were there when you were conducting the search. And you're still stuck with that story that you concocted with him. Do you want to comment on that?
Uyabona ke uthi nayibheka kahle la kuyehluza le ndaba. Hey. Laba bantu bayisho ngalendlela bayibeka ngakhona. Wena ukuthi ubhala ama notes. Waqhubeka wabhala lokho. Makuba mangahlaza, lokuqhubeka mangahlaza. Qhubeka mangahlaza. Ama notes ini ku statement. Ngoba kubonakala ngathi wena nahlanganisa amakhanda nalo Jacob. Ngathi hayi sizoyibheka ngalendlela. Kanti emva kwalokho segcina uzimbamba ngci yena wavuma ukuthi hayi ngempela vele kwenzeka ngalendlela bayishoyo. Wena uthini ngalokho?
Ngiyamuzwa uCommissioner Baloyi, kodwa into engayisho ukuthi ayikho into engayihlanganisa noJacob. Into engishoyo lento ama-notes engawabhalayo iwona lawa enza ukuthi ngibhale le statement leso. Ngisho ukuthi abantu ababekhona lapha usibanibani nosibanibani angizange ngihlanganise lutho noJacobs. Angakaze ngikhulume lutho futhi noJacobs.
Commissioner Baloyi, I hear you, but I'll stuck and reiterate that there was nothing untoward that me and Jacob came to agree upon. Just what is on my notes is the truth reflection of what transpired.
Thank you. Thanks, Mrs. Kakan.
Thank you. Just on that point, in your, just to present it as your version, at page 656, your initial statement in November 2021, it's under CJC 244, page 656.
Yeah, I told him anyway.
Yeah, well, me too.
Yes, found it.
And you're at the bottom, this is where we're dealing with the opening of the container.
Ezansi la ukhuluma ukuthi nasivulwa icontainer.
You don't mention just, and this time you.
I think, sorry, Mrs. I think until the problem has been resolved, you should just give up on fighting this. Thank you.
Ukuthi hayi indoda vele uyeka lento hayi sekuyenziwe.
Sure. I'm referring to.
Batshela yena hayi wena uqonde kulo ngo kulo baba. Hayi wena ungayeki kushelwa yena ukuthi sesizamile ukuthi ilungiswe lento.
So I just wanted to refer maybe Commissioner Baloyi to that, is that you don't mention that the seal was broken in the presence of those officials.
Kusaqala okunye kuzwakala ukuthi akukho la kushiya okukhulunywa ngokuthi lamasile aqhekezwa avulwa bekhona laba abanye.
Ngiyakuzwa lokho.
I hear that.
Can you perhaps explain the difference?
Ungabe ungakhona ukuchaza umehluko?
Mhlawumbe ngakhohlwa ukufaka kwi-statement.
Maybe I might have just forgotten to insert that statement.
Now, if we are to talk of the probabilities as Commissioner Baloyi points them, is that at this time, and I think you'll recall earlier we spoke that, or you said at this time, your mind was fresher about the events.
Ukuthi ke sibo ukuthi mhlambe kwengenzeka ukuthi uyakhumbula uke wathi futhi ngaleso sikhathi ingqondo yakho uyayisakhanya bhawo isase fresh ngokwenzekile.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you also said that you relied on your notes.
Washo futhi ukuthi wena bothembele kulama notes wakho.
Yeah.
Yes.
But an important fact is missing from this.
Kodwa ke kuyabonakala into ebalulekile la ukuthi ayikhona ngathi akhamba ngalo ndlela.
Ngiyakuvuma lokho.
I do concede, accept it.
And then in your later statement, that fact comes back.
Kodwa emva kwesikhathi sekuyabuya futhi leyo nto oyishilo.
Yebo kunjalo.
Yes, it is so.
And just to follow up or to just get some clarity. In terms of these statements, General Jacob came and testified and said at some point in relation to another incident, he spoke to members that were present at the scene about some of the events. Did you interact with him about these events, let's say this year?
Jacob lokuthi ke kuwe kwenzeka khuluma nangezinye indaba zenye into ezenza kwenye ezinye izindaba wasabe exoxisana ekhuluma nabantu ngaleyo ndaba kungenzeka ukuthi nawe wakhuluma mhlambe khona ukukhulumisana naye ngama event namanye
mhlambe uadvocate Skakhane
mhlambe
uadvocate mengasangikhumbuza ukuthi ukhuluma ngamaphi ama events.
Advocate, if you can duly remind me, maybe I would recall.
We'll go to it. It was about the Ispingo, which we are going to now, about whether the exhibits were going to be stored at Ispingo or be sent to Potchefstroom.
Uthi ke asizoya lapho kuleyo ndawo khona manje ukuthi kahle kahle lama exhibit ngabe aye eSpingo noma ePotchefstroom na.
So I'm saying that was an example. He says he was reminded.
Yeah, kuthiwa ke yiso into aye example ayishilo mayikhunjuzwa.
Okay, let me explain further. So what it would appear is that Colonel Jacob must have had some discussion around the events at Isipingo, which is one of the issues around these exhibits. Now apologies. Now what I want to know is, it would seem to me that it would be probable that other issues may have been discussed. Now I want to understand whether generally you did discuss the events around this thing with Colonel Jacobs anytime this year.
Yabona kuyabonakala sengathi kwaba khona ukukhulumekayo mayelana nalama event. Kodwa ufuna ukwazi kahle kahle ukuthi ngabe wena uke waba nengxoxo thizeni no Jacob in this year mse kulonyaka.
Sixoxa sikuphi?
Discussing where?
It's either you did or you didn't. I don't know.
Nombuzo ukuthi wakwenza noma kwenza.
Ngikhumbula.
I do not recall.
Thank you. Chair, I do apologize. The error of those black markings, it happens in not all the pages, it would seem, some of the pages. The page that I want to refer to is fine, it's not corrupted. Can I display it so that we move over it? And it's in relation to Brigadier Jussa's statement, which I think, so that we close that.
This is a major development, and it is already changing the conversation around the Madlanga Commission. Just when many thought the hearings were beginning to settle into a routine, something happened that nobody expected. Instead of all the attention remaining on the witnesses and the allegations being examined, a Hawks officer has now become part of the story. That single development has immediately raised fresh questions. How did this happen? What exactly does it mean? And could this change the direction of the commission? Stay with me until the end, because every new detail seems to lead to another surprise. The Madlanga Commission has been working through important testimony, listening carefully to witnesses, examining evidence, and trying to build a clear picture of the issues before it. Every hearing has added another piece to the puzzle. Some days have been calm, other days have brought unexpected moments that nobody saw coming. But today's development is different. It has created an entirely new conversation. Instead of asking only what happened in the past, many are now asking whether the institutions responsible for enforcing the law are also facing increased scrutiny. That is why this moment is attracting so much attention. One question is now hanging over everything. If those trusted to uphold the law also become part of the investigation, what happens next? That question alone has made today's hearing one of the most closely watched so far. The atmosphere inside the commission has become noticeably more serious. Every statement matters. Every answer matters. Even a short response can change the direction of the discussion. The commissioners continue asking difficult questions. Witnesses continue giving evidence. Legal representatives continue presenting their arguments. And everyone inside the room understands that every word spoken could become an important part of the final findings. But here comes another twist.
This is not simply about one officer. The bigger issue is accountability.
The Commission appears determined to examine every relevant matter carefully without rushing to conclusions. That approach is sending a powerful message. No matter who someone is, no matter what position they hold, questions can still be asked, evidence can still be examined, facts can still be tested. That is exactly why this latest development has become such an important talking point. Many viewers are now wondering whether today's events could encourage more witnesses to speak openly. Sometimes one unexpected development gives confidence to others who may have been waiting quietly. Sometimes it causes people to become more cautious. Right now, nobody knows which direction this will go, and that uncertainty is keeping everyone watching closely. If you believe accountability is important, no matter who is involved, take a second to like this video and subscribe.
There are still many developments ahead, and we'll continue bringing you the latest updates as they unfold.
Now let's look at the bigger picture. The Madlanga Commission was established to examine serious matters through testimony and evidence. Its responsibility is to listen carefully, consider the facts presented before it, and eventually produce findings based on that process. That means every hearing has value. Even information that seems small today could become very important later. That is why today's development cannot simply be dismissed. It has added another layer to an already complex situation. The Commission now faces the challenge of maintaining public confidence while continuing its work methodically and fairly. At the same time, those following the hearings are paying close attention to every announcement. Every witness who walks into the hearing room immediately attracts interest. Every new document creates fresh discussion.
Every clarification leads to another question. That is how quickly the story continues to evolve.
But here's something even more interesting. Public trust is often tested during moments like these. People want answers. They want transparency. They want to know whether every person involved will be treated equally. That expectation places enormous pressure on everyone connected to the process. Officials know their actions are being watched. Legal teams know their arguments are being examined. Witnesses know their testimony matters. And the Commission knows that its work will continue to be followed long after the hearings have ended. Another important point is that investigations and commissions often develop in unexpected ways. A hearing that begins with one topic can suddenly shift because of new evidence or new testimony. That appears to be exactly what has happened here. The spotlight has moved, attention has shifted,
and now many observers are wondering what could happen during the next round of proceedings.
Will additional information emerge? Will more questions be asked? Could another witness reveal something that changes everything once again? Those answers have not arrived yet. But the possibility alone is enough to keep everyone paying attention. And remember, developments like this rarely end with just one hearing. They often continue over several sessions, with each day adding another important piece to the overall picture. That means today's events may only be the beginning of a much larger story.